across to our contributing editor, Vuyo Mvoko, who's in Pretoria. Vuyo, thanks for joining us. I just wonder, the meeting has been underway for a while now. What's been happening so far?
Well, thanks very much, Peter. Yes, the meeting did indeed get underway about 2 hours ago or so. President Robert Mugabe, as chair of SADC, is chairing the summit. Of course, with him the presidents of Botswana, the president of South Africa, who heads the Troika organ that deals with politics and security in the region, President Jacob Zuma, as well, of course, as the SADC appointed mediator, Deputy President Cyril Ramaphosa. They had a short meeting before going into the summit, and that is where they briefed one another about the content or what was going to be discussed inside that summit, but also the various issues that have been raised by the members of the coalition government that is currently ruling Lesotho. But from what we are getting, there is nothing really new that is being put on the table, but concerns have been raised by the respective political party leaders, and those concerns, even though the SADC facilitator and the SADC secretariat has dealt with some or most of those issues, the presidents believe that they needed to give these political parties an ear so that no one turns around after the election on Saturday and doesn't accept the outcome of the election and then begin to punch holes in a process that SADC has worked so hard to make sure that that country does indeed go into an election come next week on Saturday. Peter?
All right, so as you said, nothing new really on the table and perhaps a preemptive strike. What's the likely outcome of this particular gathering then?
Well, you're actually right. It is a preemptive strike by the leaders of SADC to ensure that there will be no comebacks. But coming to your question, we had interviews just before those leaders came here. We went to the hotels where they were staying. I spoke to all three leaders of the coalition government, and here's what is perhaps the most important thing that we are taking out of everything that has happened today and that is yet to happen. And it is that all three of them believe that nothing, and they stated this unequivocally, nothing has or is big enough to stand in the way of Saturday's polls. Although they have problems with, there's been accusations and counter-accusations. Prime Minister Thabane is saying the other parties have not really honored their part of the deal with respect to security arrangements. On the other hand, at least one of the other parties is accusing Prime Minister, the Deputy Prime Minister that is accusing Prime Minister Thabane of going ahead and making appointments that actually go against what had been agreed to between all of them, including the opposition parties that are not here today. But significantly, none of them believe that the problems are big enough for that election to not take place on Saturday. But perhaps even more importantly, all of them are committing to what they committed earlier, and that is to say they will accept the outcome of that Saturday election. Peter?
All right, and that's where we'll leave it. Vuyo Mvoko, our contributing editor at Pretoria there, following events at the SADC Troika meeting.